What if I told you that you had the power to reverse signs of aging at home? You would think I'm full of shit, right? Before you jump to that conclusion, who the hell am I? I'm Dr. Shereene Idriss, a board-certified dermatologist based in New York City, who is extremely caffeinated at the moment. But we do this every Saturday at 10 a.m. If you are a skeptical new to be nerd, make sure to subscribe, like, and follow along. And if you've never heard of me, do the same, because that is what is good for you. I am a dermatologist. My focus is on cosmetics. I practice 5 days a week and I see patients for cosmetic concerns. But what if I told you, forget all the lasers, forget all the injectables. You have the power to truly help yourself when it comes to the aging process by helping yourself at home. You wouldn't believe me. But the reality is you do. Because the number one sign of aging is not wrinkles, is not fine lines, it's not sagging, it's not jowling. It is everything to do with your skin tone. If you guys want me to, before I jump in, get into the aging process, I'm happy to do a live and we will pick, I don't know, Tuesday. We'll finalize the time, sometime in the morning, I don't know, 10, 11 a.m. We will go live together. If that is something you guys want, let me know in the comment section below. Just type live so I could see how many live comments come up. We'll go live together to talk about the aging process in more depth. But I want to focus today on the thing that you can help yourself with at home, and that is your skin tone. And even skin tone, I've said this from day one, is next to godliness. You can have all the lines and wrinkles in the world, but as long as your skin tone is even, you can fool the people and fool the rest. Here's a quick demo of me this morning without any makeup on. I look pretty damn good, if I do say so myself, for a 40-and-a-half-year-old board-certified dermatologist. But when I take the Woods lamp, which has no filters to it, it will show you all the damage that has accumulated under my skin over the past few decades. And you cannot hide that. Because if I were not taking care of my skin as religiously as I am with my skincare routine, and yes, I have lasers in my office, but the last time I did a laser for my skin tone was over 2 years ago, you would not have results like you're seeing in front of you right now. You would look more freckly. Your freckles would start to look distorted. You would start to look messy. You would start to look ruddy. You would start to look run down. If your skincare routine is targeting the biggest number one contributing factor to aging, which is discoloration and hyperpigmentation, you will look more rested, more youthful, more radiant without spending extra money at my office or without losing sleep over procedures that are getting you nowhere in the end and not helping you along the process. So I have a skincare line. Full disclosure, it's called Dr. Idriss. I'm going to link the products below. I'm not going to talk specifically about my products though, because in my products are all these ingredients. So I don't want this to be an infomercial for that at all. I want you guys to have an understanding of the ingredients that you need to achieve an even skin tone. And there's 3 big ingredients that I did not include in my product line for several reasons, and we will get into it. So starting with number 1, sunscreen. You can go nowhere without sunscreen. If we are going to start this routine together, we have to protect what we are protecting, and you have to protect your skin from further damage. So even if you're 42 and you've never worn sunscreen for a day in your life, starting today is never too late, especially if you're going to try to calm and suppress what has already been created. So sunscreen is number 1. It blocks UV, it blocks your melanin from getting overproduced, and it is going to take you that extra mile that you would never have gotten to if you don't start using it. And if you are going to go spend thousands of dollars in office, if you're not wearing sunscreen, you're literally a sinking ship with a hole on one side and water coming in from the other, and you're not patching up the hole. So wear the damn sunscreen. There are millions of types on the markets. There are mostly minerals, mostly chemicals, some hybrids. Find the one that you like and just protect your skin. And if you're that terrified of sunscreens, I don't know what to tell you. Stay out of the sun between 10 and 4, 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Wear protective clothing, hats, UV visors, etc. Number 2, and I'm starting with the ingredients that I do not have in my skincare line, hydroquinone. Hydroquinone is not available over the counter in many countries. In the US, it is no longer available over the counter, although you can still find it in Canada at 2%, but you have to know how to use it. Hydroquinone is the gold standard when you're talking about evening out your skin tone. But you cannot be on hydroquinone forever long term. You have to take breaks, you have to use it cyclically, and you have to make sure you're protecting your skin from the sun. Personally, I much prefer you use it at night versus in the morning. And I also make sure you're using the sunscreen in the morning to protect what you are trying to create at night. It ranges starting at 4%. You can get it up to 12. I've seen even 16%. Higher is not better. My usual upper limit of tolerance for patients is 8%. And if you are going to be using it at those levels, do not do it for more than 2 months at a time. Take a 2-month break in between, because your pigmentation can get darker if you overdo it. And once it gets darker, it can never reverse. Or you become tolerant to it, and that would be a shame if you really do have melasma and you want to try to suppress it. Being tolerant to the gold standard is not ideal. Is hydroquinone safe is often a question I do get, and I think this has been completely blown out of proportion. The studies were done on rodents, they were not done on humans. You cannot compare an animal who's getting this much hydroquinone to a human who is getting this much hydroquinone on their skin. You cannot compare giving this much hydroquinone via IV to putting this much hydroquinone topically on a skin barrier. And you cannot compare hydroquinone that also had mercury in it, which is quite toxic. And so the studies were flawed. So don't worry about the hydroquinone studies, is what I usually tell myself and my patients based off of the data that we have. I will tell you though, make sure you're getting it from a licensed pharmacy. Do not try to get it from Amazon, because that's when it can be contaminated. And last, do not use it while pregnant. And I did not use it while breastfeeding, just to be safe, because why not? Number 3, we have retinoids. I personally did not include retinoids in my skincare line called Dr. Idriss Major Fade. Why did I not include retinoids? Although retinoids are very important. The reason I did not include retinoids in the lineup of skincare ingredients is because you must know the type and the percent of the retinoid that you're using. To mix a retinoid in with other actives that are targeting a very specific problem is doing a disservice to you, because you might tolerate a higher retinoid or you might not tolerate it at all. And you want to get the benefit of the other ingredients that are minimizing hyperpigmentation and discoloration. But you should really try to incorporate a retinoid if you have a lot of discoloration or melasma, because it can help with cellular turnover and it can help even out your skin tone in the process. I will link below a few of my favorite retinols and retinoids in different categories by strength, so that you guys can kind of click through and add it to, for example, the Major Fade routine if that's something you're interested in. And last, we have azelaic acid. Azelaic acid is one of those ingredients that are neither here nor there, but they have great anti-inflammatory action. If you really have discoloration, you want to be using azelaic acid at 10% or higher. 15% is usually what you get prescription, at least in the US. And azelaic acid can help really even out your skin tone when used with everything else. It is the last ingredient that I did not include in Major Fade because it pills and it is not elegant. And if you want to have the right amount of azelaic acid, chances are it will pill. So use it at night, preferably if you have really bad melasma. We first talked about the ingredients that are not incorporated into my skincare line, but now let's focus on the ingredients that are incorporated into my skincare line, starting with exfoliating acids. Why? Because you want to buff the surface of your skin and get rid of that dead skin layer in order to allow for better working efficiency of the other ingredients, but also to look brighter and more even in the process. The two biggest exfoliating acids that I love for an uneven skin tone are truly glycolic acid and lactic acid, and both of these are alpha hydroxy acids. Glycolic acid is the strongest alpha hydroxy acid because it is the smallest, and so it goes the deepest. And it also has been shown to help promote collagen production in the process. Lactic acid is one of those acids that are great for evening out your skin tone. So when used together, it is a powerful duo. Tranexamic acid is not an exfoliating acid, but it is one that we often prescribe in office for people with really stubborn melasma. It has been available over the counter for a few years now, and to incorporate it with an exfoliating acid, in my opinion, works best because tranexamic acid alone is not the holy grail of hyperpigmentation ingredients. But when you marry it to other ingredients that allow it to penetrate better, you're giving it a better chance to work, especially while it can remain stable. Tranexamic acid can help minimize hyperpigmentation, but also has anti-inflammatory properties. If you have a lot of hyperpigmentation or even melasma, and when you get flushed, your dark spots look worse, you want ingredients that are going to minimize that inflammation so that the dark spots don't get worse looking in the long run. It also blocks UV-induced pigmentation so that you're not going to get as tanned or as dark underneath the UV rays of the sun. Moving on to other ingredients like kojic acid. Kojic acid is one of those ingredients that not many people can tolerate because it can be irritating. But if you have it at less than 1% or at the 1% mark, you can still gain the benefits of kojic acid without getting scared of the irritations often associated with it. Fun fact, it is derived from a fungus, and they noticed that it had a whitening effect to it, and that is why kojic acid is kind of like one of those weird but fun ingredients. Alpha-arbutin is a naturally occurring compound from bearberry plants, and it is a precursor to hydroquinone. It is much milder than hydroquinone. It needs to get converted in your skin to the hydroquinone structure in order to start working and minimizing your pigmentation. It is one of those things that you must include in your skincare routine if you have discoloration, hyperpigmentation, and it also has antioxidant properties, so it's going to help protect your skin from free radical damage, which can also contribute to aging in the form of thinner skin, fine lines, wrinkles, etc. Is it safe? There's no evidence that alpha-arbutin causes any harm in pregnancy, and I would use it, but always consult with your OBGYN. And the reason I keep bringing up pregnancy is because most women get hyperpigmentation, discoloration, melasma, while the hormones are in pregnancy and the period right after. And licorice root. Licorice root is one of those things that have been used for years in many different cultures. It has great tyrosinase inhibition, which works for minimizing pigment. You have anti-inflammatory effects, antioxidant properties, as well as glycyrrhizin. I have to say this, glycyrrhizin and glabridin effects. Honestly, these words are not made for somebody who has a lisp, but these compounds have great inhibition effect for overproduction of melanin, so you have an overall brighter skin tone when you're using these in combination with the other ingredients that we mentioned. And then we have, of course, niacinamide. Niacinamide is not everybody's friend. I do not like it higher than 10%. At 5%, it is the sweet spot, and it offers anti-inflammatory properties, which really helps to minimize any sort of post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. But it also does have some tyrosinase inhibition to it, so it does also block the production of melanin while blocking melanosome transfer, which makes your skin look darker in the process. And last, I've saved the best for last, we have vitamin C. Vitamin C is one of those ingredients that of course you know about. I saved it for the end because you were expecting me to say it in the beginning, but vitamin C alone is not the holy grail. In combination with all of these ingredients, you are going to have a solid skincare routine. It sounds like a lot. You can simplify your life. That's why I created the skincare line. Again, this is not an infomercial for that. I used to have a 13-step skincare routine or a 12-step skincare routine. You can watch it on Harper's Bazaar's Go to Bed With Me. It was not realistic, but you want to incorporate these actives into your skincare routine very consistently throughout the course of the week in order to minimize how you produce pigment so you don't end up looking like the Crypt Keeper by the time you're my age. Because as you saw under the woods lamp, I do not look like this. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it's helped you to empower you to take your skincare into your own hands and not to feel like you have to spend thousands of dollars in office on procedures to reverse signs of aging. And if you guys are interested in a YouTube video or going live rather this Tuesday morning-ish, let me know below by commenting live. On that note, I will see you guys later. Have a beautiful Saturday.